Hi, my name is Jason Williams from the Payments Power 50. We're here at MPE in Berlin. I would like to introduce you to my next guest, Jacob Spencer from Bridge. So Jacob.
Hi, lovely to meet you, and thanks a lot for having me on here. I'm Jacob Spencer. I'm CRO and Chief Revenue Officer at Bridge. Effectively, I joined Bridge a while ago now, about 5 years, yesterday. At the time, we were a very small company. We were 6 people, based out of Scotland. And since then, we've been lucky enough to grow. You know, we're now approaching 100, 120 people. We serve payments globally with exceedingly strong coverage in the UK, Ireland, Europe, North America, and Australia. Team's grown significantly across all angles, but we effectively remain a product-led organization and look to service merchants with the best possible payment orchestration and infrastructure on the market.
Fantastic. So on the topic of orchestration, what have you guys seen improve over the last few years?
Yeah, improvement's really interesting. I think I've seen the market mature a significant amount. I think when I came into the market, I think payment orchestration was a buzzword, with a lot of people saying, you know, what does it mean? And I think that's changed for different people, right? I think some orchestrators have specialized in certain areas. You know, some, for example, do airlines really well. Others do gaming and gambling really well. And others do certain markets very well, like Latin America or Canada or North America or Europe, for example. So I think from my perspective, I think what's improved is people have started to find their groove, typically denoted and driven by a merchant base. They know which merchants they service well, and they do it and they focus on it. So I think from my perspective, what's improved significantly is it's no longer a conceptual idea that sounds great. It's actually been brought into practice, and people are specializing down as to, you know, how that works.
So what would you say the biggest challenges orchestration for merchants is right now?
Yeah, I think from our perspective, there's 2 major challenges. And, you know, from a merchant perspective, payments over the last few years have become exceedingly important. You know, they're never focused on until they go wrong. And then it's the biggest problem in the business, I guess. So from merchants' perspective, they're looking to have an optimized stack that is always on, cost effective, and gives the consumer the experience they demand and want. And the reality is, from an orchestrator's perspective, it's ensuring that we can deliver to that, right? And I think the biggest challenge from an orchestrator's perspective is if you go too broad and too wide and try and service too many merchant types, you're unlikely to deliver that experience and deliver real value for the merchants that you work with. So I think from an orchestrator perspective, it's about knowing what you're good at, ensuring you work with the relevant merchants that you can deliver value to, and really doubling down on that so that effectively you do give them the benefit statements that they really go to market for.
Yeah, fantastic. I hear that you're running a session, a roundtable session tomorrow, using data to drive payments organizations. What role do you see data playing in the success of orchestration?
Yeah, I mean, from our perspective, data is an absolute underpinning facet of our platform and how we deliver value to our merchants. So I think data and orchestration actually come hand in hand. So if you think about it conceptually, data is what informs you as to where the challenges or good parts are of your payment infrastructure. So that might be acceptance rate with PSP1. It might be failure rate with PSP2 and what you can do about it, or what you can see in the data to improve it. So orchestration, though, is effectively the action layer. So as long as you're driven by the right data, you can take action and then effectively give a better performance metric or better outcome for that merchant. So from our perspective, data is everything because it then drives how our platform works optimally for the merchants that we work with.
So 2026 is a big year for Bridge. What can we expect?
Well, I think from a Bridge perspective, first and foremost, we're building volume consistently with the merchants that we work with. You know, overall, our aim is to process a significant amount more volume than we did at the start of this year, and we're absolutely on course to do that. That then gives us more data and insight and allows us to improve our platform consistently. I think the other aspects, you know, more tangibly, I think we will expand internationally with purpose into 1, potentially 2 new markets. And effectively, from a Bridge perspective, that'll be quite exciting because it'll broaden the merchant base maybe not vertical based, but merchant based that we engage with. And from our perspective, that just means delivering more value for more merchants in markets with real purpose.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much, Jacob. It's been a pleasure to meet with you here. And I guess enjoy today and tomorrow. I know that you said that you've had a problem with the flights, but I'm sure that it'll all work out.
I'm sure it will. Thanks a lot for your time, and catch you soon.